बिस्मिल्लाह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला रसूलिल्लाह अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू ला तुक़द्दिमू बैना यदियिल्लाहि वर रसूलि वत्तकुल्लाह इन्नल्लाहा समीउन अलीम। अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। From today I'm starting a series called the Surah Al-Hujurat series. I'm not a scholar, right? So I won't be like telling you tafsir and trying to inject my own opinions into the Quran, inshallah. Rather, I'll be following the tafsir of ulama. The main tafsir that I'm following are of Imam Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah ta'ala, and Abul Ala Maududi, rahimahullah ta'ala. So basically the thing is, why did I choose Surah Al-Hujurat? इसको चूज करने का जो मकसद था वो ये था कि ऑल्दो कुरान के अंदर और मुकामात पे डिफरेंट जगहों पे there are lessons of ethics, moral principles, things teaching us morality, but Surah Hujurat is basically the epitome of ethics, epitome of moral principles that help us govern our lives, how we should be dealing with each other, how to deal with the people when they bring in news, and first and foremost, how to be the things that we should keep in mind while dealing with the commandments of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The word Hujurat means private apartments, chambers, dwellings. घरों के मानों में भी इसे लिया जा सकता है. Well, it was revealed in different situations, right? But most of its part looks like it was revealed in the last years of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Madinatul Munawwara. Well, before starting, a few points about it more. In Surah Al-Hujurat, we are told different principles of morality. Like, you shouldn't make fun of others, you shouldn't spy on one another, you shouldn't backbite one another, you shouldn't give each other bad nicknames, no one's superior, and things like these. And these laws, these principles, if we incorporate them into our lives will become much easier, right? We won't hurt each other, we will make peace with one another. So that is why I call Surah Al-Hujurat the epitome of ethics. Well, let's start with the first ayah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله والرسول. O you who believe, don't put yourself before Allah and His Messenger. Do not proceed in any matter before Allah and His Messenger. Wattaqullah, fear Allah. Inna Allah Sami'ul Alim. Surely Allah is all hearing and all knowing. Well, what does this ayah basically mean? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to teach us in this ayah? Well, the first point that we should keep in mind is that when a hukum, when a commandment from Allah and His Rasul comes, we should just listen to it and obey it. Sami'ana wa ata'ana, right? We should not try to inject our own opinion into it. Ibn Abbas, it is narrated by Ibn Kathir. Ibn Abbas commented on it by saying, don't say anything contradicting the Quran and the Sunnah. Similarly, Qatada, it is narrated by Ibn Kathir as well, said that people used to say that certain things should be revealed, certain things should be rendered lawful for us, कुछ चीज़ों को हलाल कर देना चाहिए, तो उसके जवाब में ये आयत रिवील हुई. अब यहाँ पे जो चीज़ जहन में रखने वाली है वो ये है कि अगर आप क्रॉस रेफरेंस के तौर पे सूरह अल-अहज़ाब को देखें, सूरह अल-अहज़ाब की वर्स नंबर 36 को, उसमें अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला फरमा रहे हैं, इट इज़ नॉट फॉर अ बिलीविंग मैन और अ बिलीविंग वुमन when Allah and His Messenger have decided a matter that they should have any choice about that affair. ठीक है? And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger has certainly strayed into clear error, into dalalam mubina, right? कि जब अल्लाह और उसके रसूल का कोई हुक्म आ जाए तो उसमें आपकी कोई आपकी opinion की वक़्त नहीं है. Your opinion does not matter because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing, right? He knows what's best for us because He created us, right? He is our God, He's our sustainer, He's our creator. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our teacher, and his teacher is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what Rasulullah tells us is from the reference of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what we should do is we should just obey it, listen to it and obey it. Now, a few points that we should keep in mind are that when a commandment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and we read it in the Quran, we read it in the Sunnah, we shouldn't say, but मेरा ख्याल ये है कि हमको ऐसे कर लेना चाहिए, मेरी ये ज़ाती राय ये है कि हमको इस तरह कर लेना चाहिए. This is totally wrong. Are you trying to teach your God? Are you trying to teach your Prophet? If you are not, then what you should do is you should ask for forgiveness and conform to the commandments that have been revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. What the ulama tried, they basically tried to explain these commandments to us, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. There's a hadith. It is narrated by Imam Tirmidhi in Jamia Tirmidhi. It is 1327. It is graded Sahih by Ibn Abdul Bar. That when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sending Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu to Yemen as a judge, he said to him, "How will you decide their matters?" He said, "By the book of Allah." Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "If you don't find it in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala," then he said, he will decide the matters by the sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, if this also fails you, what will you do? He replied, then I shall exert and find out a solution by myself. Thereupon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam placed his hand on Muad's chest and said, thank God who has helped his messenger's deputy to adopt the way that is approved by his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Basically, first and foremost is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us. Then the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nowadays, the third thing that we should see is the ijma of the ummah, right? Ijma means the consensus. ठीक है? एक collectively एक चीज़ जो है जो कि accept है उम्मा में, किसी एक फ़िरके की accepted नहीं, किसी एक group की accepted नहीं, बल्कि mainstream of the ummah के अंदर जो चीज़ accepted है, it is called ijma. So if you don't find something in the Quran, if you don't find something in the Sunnah, we should look at the ijma of the ummah. If it is in the ijma of the ummah, we should accept that. Then if we don't find it in the ijma of the ummah, then there is place for ijtihad. Now ijtihad is basically deducing something, right, from the principles of the Quran and the Sunnah, right? It might not be exactly in the Quran and the Sunnah, right? But you are deducing the solution of a problem from the principles of the Quran and the Sunnah, right, to solve a certain problem. For example, an example of ijtihad. Basically, this ijtihad is basically at the level of consensus in the ummah that marijuana is if it's halal or haram. Now, marijuana isn't mentioned in the Quran, neither the hadith, but it is haram. How? Because there's a hadith that every intoxicant is haram, marijuana is intoxicating. Then the ulama did the ijtihad, which reached the level of ijma, and it is ijma if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it reached to the level of ijma that marijuana is also haram because it is what? Intoxicating. As everything intoxicant is haram according to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now this has reached the level of ijma. But ijtihad comes when you don't have a clear opinion which is accepted by the whole ummah. So in this case we can do ijtihad by using qiyas, by using critical thinking, logical thinking, and there are some other tools for ijtihad. And how do I support this claim? I support this claim by a narration in Al-Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba. Its number is 22,919 Maktabat al-Shamila or 23,444. In this, uh, Umar radiallahu anhu, when he was the Khalifa, he sent a letter to Qazi Shurai in Kufa, and he said, if you face a problem, find its solution in the Quran, right? If you don't find it in the Sunnah, then look for it in the Ijma. Then, if you don't find it, then do ijtihad, and if you do not do it, it would be fine as well. Now, the thing that we should keep in mind when it comes to ijtihad is that it should not contradict with the basic principles of the Quran and the Sunnah, right? And ijtihad is something quaternary. Primary is Quran, Sunnah, consensus, which is the ijma, then the ijtihad. So ijtihad won't be considered preceding or what we call as putting ourselves before Allah and His Rasul, because we tried first finding the issue in the Quran, then the Sunnah, then the ijma, and in the end we did ijtihad. Now, why is ijma also important? Because there's a hadith in Al-Mustadrak Al-Hakim 389, 399. In this narration, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that my ummah won't do ijma, or Allah won't have my ummah accept something which is clear deviance, which is clear dalala, which is clear gumrahi, right? And Allah has His hand over the jama'ah. It is, by jama'ah it does not mean any firqa, rather it means ijma of the ummah, consensus of the whole ummah. Not one group saying something and people say that okay, they seem in majority, whether they have a reference or evidence or not, this is the ijma. No, it is not ijma. Ijma of the ummah is what is accepted by the whole ummah. For example, there are 5 daily prayers accepted by the whole ummah, right? 17 rakah of the fard prayers accepted by the whole ummah. Burying someone with their face towards the qibla when they die is not present in the sunnah directly in narrations, but where we find it is it has been transferred through different generations, and there is ijma of the ummah on that, so we won't call it a bid'ah or an innovation, right? So these were some points that I thought I should discuss. One last point that I would discuss in this matter is that this is not only an individual matter. It should be a matter on the level of a government, a state that's constitution is based on Islam, like Pakistan. Because if we say we are the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, our laws should also be in conformity with what has been revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran and what we have been given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Sunnah. And this is the difference between a Muslim judge and a non-Muslim judge, that while coming towards a decision, he first finds the matter, he should first find the matter in the Quran, then he should find in the Sunnah, then he should look at the ijma of what the scholars have said collectively and have consensus over it. And if there is not consensus, he should look at the opinion, the rai, and which rai is strong, which opinion is strong on the basis of evidence. And if he does not find anything, he can do ijtihad. And the jurists and faqihs and the mujtahid people should do the ijtihad. Not every person who doesn't know the Quran and Hadith properly should go on doing ijtihad. So this was all for today, and I hope I did justice to explain the ayah number 1 of Surah Al-Hujurat. Jazakallahu khair wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.